Hey guys, it's Michael, and this is part 3 of ECW's Hardcore Retrospective. It's late right now, so I'm going to keep my voice down, but I'm going to do my best to try and film it. I've been spending the past weekend trying to get both my videos up, and finally after 8 times, part 1's now up, part 2 should be up soon, and now I'm going to do part 3 and then part 4, so I know I said Monday, but Tuesday will most likely when I'll get all lined up, and all my ducks lined up in a row, and then boom. Until then, we last left off when we talked about WCW creating Monday Nitro and Eric Bischoff just rating all of Paul's talent. So, what do you do now? You go for somebody who was a diamond in the rough. Stunning Steve Austin, aka the Extreme Superstar. Now, when we last talked about Steve coming to ECW, basically he just angry, he was mad, and he was driven. He wanted to do promos to just basically insult WCW, and then of course be sarcastic and just cut as many scathing promos as is. And the guy was perfect, you know. And first of all, I remember he had long blonde hair, and he was just still injured, but he still, wasn't cleared yet. So what he did was he would do this promotion. He did a promo in October of '95 with Mikey Whipwreck and the Sandman in a ladder match, and just did one of the funniest promos I've ever seen anyone do. Basically, it's him wearing a tank top and shorts and a bandana coming to the ring and basically dressed to make fun of both competitors. He gets on a ladder and he just does one of the best promos I've ever heard anyone. Says, "Stop the music. I came here and somebody called me, some jabroni called me a Hulk Hogan wannabe. Somebody said I was Hulk Hogan. I've been crapped on for 4 years in WCW. I'm pretty sure I've earned a break." And then he just says, "Whipwreck, you're a go-getter and I respect you, but you're still crap. This is Steve Austin talking to you, and if I'm saying it, you better believe it. Yeah, Sandman. Yeah, have a few beers. You mean smoke a few cigarettes. Yeah, you're a really cool guy. But I'm gonna get your ass in this ring. I'm gonna run circles around you. And when your tongue's hanging out there, you're wondering what in the hell was I thinking? That's Steve Austin." And then he looks at a woman, Nancy Benoit. He looks at her just like, "Hey, you know what? If I can get $5 in a clothespin, I'd give you a try, honey." Because earlier he said, "I'm looking at 2 jackasses, and from the places I've been, about $5 piece of ass." I thought it was classic. And then going back to woman, he's just like, "And don't you dare look at me with those evil eyes, honey, because that's you that married a midget, not me." And then of course Jerry Styles like, "Hey, is that the phone I hear ringing?" And so, kind of an inside rib. I don't know if he was talking about Benoit or Sullivan, but I know that, it's kind of a good joke. So, it's a bit distasteful now, but back then it was funny as hell. Also, while this happened, Steve was going to fight for the championship against Mikey Whipwreck, who beat Sandman for the title. And originally, Paul wanted Steve to win the belt. And Steve's like, "Nah, I'm not ready to win the belt yet." And he lost. And he says, "You beat me by this close, Mikey Whipwreck. And God, I want to beat you now for it." So Steve was one of the smartest cats ever, to the point where he shaved his head, did more scathing reviews, and then ultimately left ECW. Who was only there for a couple months, but he ended up, getting the training and went to WWF as the ringmaster, and then later became Steve Austin. The rest is history. As for what was going on with the current product, you had Tommy and you had Raven and Sandman who had a feud, and then you had Tommy, Raven, you had Stevie Richards, and then you had Beulah McGillicuddy, who were all part of this little, well, it's a triangle but circle of everyone fighting over who. Like, Beulah, does she want to fight Tommy? Does she love Tommy? All this kind of stuff. And it was basically one of the best angles they ever did. I know people bitch about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and AJ, but back then this was different. It wasn't like all Twilight-ish. It was just like, do I hate you? Do I want you? That kind of thing. And I just remembered early '96, there is this match with Stevie Richards, and Meanie came with him, and Beulah was with him. And the thing is, she was acting crazy, and Stevie just was like, "Hey, can I get a hug or a kiss from you, Beulah?" And she's like, "No." And he's just like, "What are you, Raven's girlfriend?" "No, I'm pregnant." And Raven came to the ring and whooped Stevie Richards' ass because he felt that, did you do that to me? Because Raven always felt that, Stevie was being nice to Beulah. And then Beulah's like, it's not him, it's not him. And then she just flat out says, it's Tommy. The place lit up because Tommy Dreamer, who was Raven's foe, ended up shagging his girlfriend. And then finally, Tommy comes to the ring, hits him in the head with a steel chair, and then DDTs him. Paul drives him on a blueberry pie after Tommy takes a bite out of it, spits it out, and then drops him. And that was it. And then, ironically enough, on April 20th, or 420, damn hipsters, they had an event called Hostile City Showdown where Shane Douglas would fight Raven for the title. And Raven said that, Shane Douglas told Tommy that Beulah is not pregnant, but she was cheating on you with someone else. Basically just, doing this whole thing. She was not pregnant. Tommy's like, who is it? Basically asking franchise who the hell was she cheating on her with, to the point where he's about to just like rip Shane Douglas head off, says, who is it? And Shane Douglas, it's not a he, Tommy Dreamer, it's not a he. And then Kimona, the Shane's valet, who was a Japanese woman, says, it's me. Everybody goes nuts. Shane Douglas laughing his fucking ass off because it was the first ever lesbian angle they ever did in ECW, and that got them thrown off. That literally got them thrown off almost all their networks. Not the pay-per-views, but like all the basic premium cable channels, all the public access channels that were carrying them. They said they lost everything because of that angle, and they had to kill it recently because, you can't. I guess you can't have lesbianism in 1996 pro wrestling. I mean, nowadays you could, but back then it's like a different, it's a different beast. People were more. Well, I guess they are kind of fickle as they are back then. But, the fact that you had these two women make out, and then Tommy grabs them both by the hair and says, what the hell's going on? And, of course, Shane says, what are you going to, so who's he going to have, Dreamer? Fuck it, I'll take them both. I'm hardcore. And that was it. So while this was happening, Taz had came back. Taz's neck was finally repaired. He was healing himself. He changed the Tasmaniac to Taz. He decided to become the suplexing king, UFC Ultimate Fighter, shoot fighter, and he changed his ways. And people didn't know what would happen to him until Joey Styles said on a commentary, the man I'm commentating this show with is named Peter Sinurcha, but you know him differently. You know him as Taz. So Taz would just stop, Taz came with a black singlet, and he would just suplex the hell out of people. I mean, yeah, I know there's, bullshit about, oh, Brock Lesnar is Suplex City. No, Taz is the original Suplex King. So, that was it. So he would just suplex people left and right. And while this was happening, you had more of the talent still making names for himself. You had Mikey Whipwreck and Sandman and Raven, Stevie Richards, Tommy, and then Lance Storm, and a lot of other guys. So, while this is happening, more and more of the company, you had the three wrestling competitions. You had WWF, WCW, and ECW. And all three of these guys are trying to, vial what they can. 1997 was the year when ECW had finally made announcements. We're going to have our first ever pay-per-view at 10 o'clock. Not 9 o'clock. At 8 o'clock. They had to go an hour behind because they thought they were real, like, UFC. So they were like, okay, we'll let you go on instead. And, like, take for example, if a pay-per-view starts 5 o'clock in the West Coast, but 8 o'clock in the other time, and it's, Eastern, Pacific time, whatever, they would start at 6 and 9. Because, they're too real, you can't have that. So, kind of like the thing with Fox, if The Simpsons are on at 8, Family Guy's on at 9, WWF, 8, ECW, 9. Well, the pay-per-view almost didn't happen due to the fact that there was an incident there in Revere, Massachusetts, where you have, I can't pronounce his name to save my life. I think it's Eric Rojas, Eric Callis. Anyways, I just found out his real name today. Sorry, guys. But the thing is, there was a pro wrestler who claimed to be a pro wrestler, a kid, if you would. He falsified his documents and said that I'm, professional. He signed the waiver. And truth be told, he said he was 19, but he's really 17. And he was supposed to be in a match with Axel Rotten and Devon Dudley. Axel couldn't make it because something happened. So this kid falsified his information and decided, okay, so he competes in the match with Devon against Cactus and Mustafa. Mustafa and New Jack. And New Jack is basically doing all these different weapon matches. And so when it came to the point where he asked him, he asked New Jack said, "I'm going to cut you. Is that going to be okay?" Okay. Like an ocean of blood came from this kid's forehead, which they called the mass transit incident. Because the kid's name, I don't know why they were called mass transit. I think that's what the kid's name was. Like, I can't find the match on YouTube, but basically, as a 17-year-old kid lying, saying he was 19, getting beaten up, bruised, to the fact where, the company was in trouble for letting a minor wrestle on a pro wrestling show in a hardcore match, no less, against New Jack, and the kid damn near blacked out from a coma because of the blood loss. Lawsuits happened. New Jack almost was going to get arrested for 5 years because room saw he was arrested and he was going to be sentenced to 5 years for the violence. And then, of course, the kid's story apparently didn't... Something about the kid's story and the kid's father going and saying, "How could you guys let this kid do this? How could you guys do that?" When he said, well, first of all, granted he's a minor, but where the hell were you? So his story kept changing every time to the point where, oh man, we really don't know what's going on. So due to the fact that the kid's story didn't happen and that all charges were dropped and that New Jack didn't get charged and he was let go free, it was fine. But the damage was done, and the head of pay-per-view just said, "We're not going to, the pay-per-view's gone." So the fans decided we have to do what we can and just begged, pleaded, cajoled. Paul Heyman bribed who he could and talked to a lawyer to get everything going on. And when in April 1997, the first ever UFC, oh God, it's late night. I'm sorry, guys. The first ever ECW Beverly Legal pay-per-view happened. And these guys fought their hearts out, tooth and nail, to the point where you had Lance Storm fighting against Rob Van Dam, who, it was his first match, and he wasn't happy about the way things were going. And he cut a screaming promo saying, "I came here, laced my boots to fight, because Rob Van Dam is all about getting that money, and Rob Van Dam does not take a pay cut or pay me. I'm here to take a paycheck. I go where I'm needed, and damn it if I'm not needed here." So you have that. Shane Douglas didn't even wrestle. He was announcing. So then you would have Sabu and Taz, a year that these guys were waiting to fight. These guys fought, and it was just fantastic. And then after that, you had the championship match, a four-way dance between... Well, it was supposed to be a four-way dance between Stevie Richards, Raven, Terry Funk, and Sandman. Stevie ended up getting clipped in the back of his neck with the piece of the parking rail or something like that. Just clipped him bad, and that injured him and sidelined him for a couple months. And then he left for WCW, and then he came back to ECW and got a lot of heat with the boys. And then after that, just decided to get the surgery. But that's off topic. Long story short, these three guys fought, and when it was all said and done, Terry Funk won the title, and the place went nuts. It was just crazy. And I'm glad, I've seen bits and pieces of it on YouTube. I thought it was fantastic. So, with everything going on, like, 10 seconds after the pay-per-view ended, the power in the building collapsed. And they were just like, well, now what are we going to do? So then it was just keep spinning more pay-per-views as much as you can. And do what you can do. So, everything was going fine, and then 1998 came. 1998 is when I actually started watching ECW, because I never even heard of them. I was a freshman in high school when I first heard of them. So, okay, I'm going to finish this up tomorrow, the last of it. We'll talk about the 98, and then the end. So, thank you and good night.